What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to know if you're really in a calorie deficit. So I get this question a lot. People put their information into a calorie calculator and then a week later they ask me, how do I know if I'm in a calorie deficit? Most likely the scale didn't move. Things were not happening fast enough for them. They weren't being patient enough. And so it led them to think that maybe they're not in a calorie deficit. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are. This video is going to explain to you how to know exactly if you are in a calorie deficit. And I'm going to go over some tips and tricks in this video. So make sure you watch all the way through. Also make sure you like and subscribe because you love me. All right. Number one is a calculator. Why? Because you can input your information into my calorie calculator, TDEE calorie calculator, any calorie calculator online, and it's going to give you slightly different numbers. The thing is, all of these numbers are going to be a little bit different. So if you stress yourself out putting your information into all these calculators, getting all these different equations, all you're going to be doing is frustrating yourself because you're going to DM me and be like, Jeff, how do I know which calculator to use? Yours says this, TDE calculator says that, blah, 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 blah. Listen, just pick a number and start. Fat loss, weight loss, it's all about taking action. If you overthink things, it's called paralysis by analysis, which is basically just thinking yourself into being paralyzed by fear and overthinking. We don't want to do that. We want to keep things nice and simple for you. So just pick a calorie calculator. You can pick mine. You can pick any of the good calorie calculators online. Pick a number and just start tracking. Number two. And one way to figure out whether you're in a calorie deficit is to track your body weight. But it may be the actual worst way to figure out if you're in a calorie deficit, especially if you're not tracking your body weight intelligently. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll step on the scale day one. They'll be like, okay, my starting weight is 198. Day two, they'll step on the scale. They'll be like, okay, damn it, my weight went up to 199. Day three, they'll step on the scale. Okay, my weight's back down to 197. Whew, I'm doing good. Day four, they'll step on the scale. They're at 201. Damn it, I'm not in a calorie deficit. Am I? I don't think I'm in a calorie deficit. And then they'll DM me all these questions. You've been in a deficit for 4 days. So before you assess your progress, wait a little bit longer than 4 days. Wait a little bit longer than 10 days. You should be waiting at least 2 weeks and taking an average of your daily weigh-ins. What does this mean? It means take your weight every single morning, naked, before you eat or drink anything, step on the scale, write that number down. Then I want you to add all of your weekly numbers up. Divide that by 7. That's going to give you your average weekly weigh-in. This is the number that you want to use. So don't even talk to me until you have 7 days worth of data. Then take that average weekly weigh-in, compare week 1 to week 2 to week 3 to week 4. You should be losing half a pound to a pound per week. A pound per week is amazing progress. So yes, if you're losing half a pound per week, you're in a calorie deficit. If you're losing 1 pound per week, you're definitely in a calorie deficit. And if you're losing more than that, you are 1000% in a calorie deficit. So you can use your body weight. The next thing you can use is a tape measure. I like to use tape measures with all of my clients. We take measurements every 4 weeks and we take waist measurements every single week. Why? Because waist measurements are not going to move every single week, but if we track them in centimeters, it might move every single week, or it might just move like a 0.5 centimeter every single week, right? The reason why waist measurements are key for determining whether you're in a calorie deficit or not is because you don't carry a lot of muscle around your belly button area, around your waist. So if you're losing inches there, if you're losing centimeters there, that's a good indicator that you are losing fat. So keep that in mind next time you are thinking about taking measurements. Waist measurements are the most important, and then take full body measurements every 4 weeks. If those are going down, you're in a calorie deficit and you're doing the right stuff. Number 3, photos. Taking photos. This is so important because a lot of people are afraid to take photos. And a lot of times what happens with my online coaching clients is they step on the scale, they get that information to me, cool. That's important. They do their measurements. Cool. That's important. Sometimes there's stuff happening that the scale or the measurements are not giving us an indicator in. But progress photos sometimes will show what's happening a little bit better. If you are building muscle, you're losing fat at the same time, this is called body recomposition. And it does happen quite often, especially with somebody who's new to following an actual training program. So what they may be seeing is they are losing fat, building muscle at the same time. Their body is changing quite a bit. And from this, their photos are going to look really, really differently, even with very, very small changes in their measurements and their weight. So keep that in mind next time you are keeping track of your progress. Make sure you're taking photos. Also, make sure that you find somebody with a trained eye to look at your photos. Don't just be your own photo judge, because a lot of times I have clients who are looking at their own photos and they pick themselves apart. I don't see any progress. I don't see any progress. And then they send it to me and I'm like, what are you talking about? Love handles coming in, back is more defined, triceps coming in. Look at the back of your legs, like you're building muscle too. Like, there's so many things that I can point out because I have a trained eye to look at these photos. Working with hundreds and hundreds of clients over the years, like I have a trained eye of looking at these progress photos. All right. Next on the list is a little guy holding his tummy here. And the reason for this is he's hungry. In a calorie deficit, you should be hungry sometimes. You shouldn't be starving, but you should be hungry sometimes. A lot of people have these tips and tricks on how to stay full in a calorie deficit, and that's all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, if you're actually in a calorie deficit, you're probably going to be hungry sometimes. You're probably going to wake up hungry. You're probably going to have some nighttime cravings. You're probably going to have some hunger. And that's totally normal. And if you're not hungry at all, ever, like let's say your hunger is like a 1 out of 10, all of the time, you're probably not in a calorie deficit. So hunger is not the end of the world. There's nothing you need to do about it. If you get some hunger pangs, just drink some water, wait till your next meal. You can have a snack, just stay within your calories and you'll be fine. Sometimes hunger pangs last like 3 to 5 minutes and then they go away. So keep that in mind and make sure that you guys don't think that hunger means that you're dying. It really doesn't. All right, next on the list here, number 5, clothes fitting better. A little pair of shorts here. So it's a great indicator of fat loss. It's a great indicator of whether you're in a calorie deficit or not. Why? Because your clothes are fitting better. Your underpants, your underwear is fitting looser. This is a clear indicator that you are losing some inches around your waist. Your clothes are fitting better. Maybe your shirts aren't as tight. All of this stuff is good indicators that you are in a calorie deficit, that things are moving in the right direction, and you, my friend, are doing the right things. Congratulations. Number 6, I put a little guy talking here, and the reason for that is if people are saying things to you like, wow, you look really good. Are you losing weight? Oh, you look like you've leaned up quite a bit. Your face looks a lot leaner. Wow, what are you doing in the gym? Blah, blah, blah. If people are saying these things to you, chances are you are in a calorie deficit. You're doing the right things. You're losing fat, and you just need to keep going. Bottom line here, guys, is most people are just super, super impatient. They want to see results really, really fast. And I don't blame you. I like to see results really, really fast too. The thing is, sometimes it takes 8 to 12 weeks in a calorie deficit, in a sustainable calorie deficit, for you to start seeing drastic, noticeable changes, right? These Instagram 6-week transformations, these are people trying to sell you on coaching. They're trying to sell you bullshit. I will never post a 6-week transformation. You know why? Because in 6 weeks, people are not going to have impressive transformations if they're doing things sustainably. And what we preach, what we talk about on this channel and in my content is about sustainability. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to leave a link down in the description for more information about coaching. You can go check that out. You can go check out my blog, my website. Post a lot of articles, a lot of good content on there, as well as my podcast, which I think you guys will really enjoy. So go check that stuff out. Go check out my free calorie calculator, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.